Just learning that better than 90% of the people in the country do not achieve real financial competence and security during their lives gives each of us, as head of his family, or at least co-head, the responsibility to make certain that we are in that small percentage of people who do. As George Bernard Shaw said one time, it is the duty of every man, the first duty of every man, is not to be poor. As it is written in the nature of man, freedom must be gained specifically against the obstacles and the conditions to which we're constantly exposed. And, two, achieving financial security is an excellent exercise in creative imagination. Considering the effects of unrelenting inflation and assuming that they will continue in the future as they have in the past, estimate how much money you think you and your spouse will need as income to live as you want to live at the time you pick for retirement. Now, if you want to go along with age 65, that's fine, but maybe you'd like to be financially set before that time. At any rate, pick the year and the income you want to be receiving by that time. You know what Social Security benefits are now, and they'll probably increase, but only along with inflation in the future. And you want the income coming in whether you're in a condition to work or not, ideally. You want a form of income that does not depend upon your personal services. Now, you know how much you want coming in, and you know the year in which you want it to be there. Your problem is defined, and it's said that a problem defined is half solved. Let's say, too, that you yearn for the simple, uncluttered life, maybe a small, attractive place in Florida or Southern California or Hawaii or maybe Costa Rica or the coast of Spain with a sailboat and the rest of your life to spend wearing an old pair of Levi's and a sports shirt and sneakers. Sound good? Well, it's quite within the realm of possibility. It's a game any number can play. Most people just don't imagine that it's possible, so they remove themselves from competition. Now, here's one excellent formula to use in helping your imagination come up with the idea that best fits your particular likes and talents. First, the problem or opportunity. Problems are unsolved opportunities. Then assess your education, your background, your qualifications. What do you do best? You may want to go right on doing it, but at the same time invest your money in something calculated to give you excellent prospects for growth. As our friend suggests in his book, Squeeze the Eagle Until It Grins, you might want to invest in good real estate, perhaps Florida real estate. Then when you're ready to retire, you can live off your income and just watch your investments. You see, with $10,000, you can leverage, $50,000, maybe $100,000 in real estate. When it grows to $100,000, you can leverage maybe $1 million or $500,000. With $1 million, you can leverage $10 million. If you're not interested in real estate, remember that each year most people spend 90% or more of their income on products and services. The country's business firms do the same thing. What can you do to earn enough out of all of those many billions of dollars spent every month to live the way you and your spouse want to live? Set aside an hour a day to invest in solving your future financial needs. I recently visited a friend who lives in a beautiful home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He brought out a dozen fine, enlarged, beautiful color photographs of his home and grounds, shots from every angle. There were aerial views showing his home situated on the waterway. We commented on how great they were, and he told us that they'd been taken by a man in a small helicopter who had taken them without my friend's knowledge or permission. He had paid about $200 for the set, and they were well worth the money. If he used them only in case he wanted to sell his house, they'd be worth many times what he paid for them. But in the meantime, they were great, framed in his family room and in his office. A person could make an excellent income doing no more than photographing homes, and if he happened to like living in Florida and flying around in a helicopter, he'd have an agreeable business indeed. It was an imaginative and successful enterprise for a person who likes and is good at photography. Actually, the photographer could be hired while the entrepreneur simply called on the owners of the homes and sold the sets of pictures. But there are thousands of ideas just as good and not nearly so imaginative. Opportunities go with problems. Violent crimes have increased more than 90% in the last 5 years. Violent juvenile crimes have increased 167% in the last 10 years, according to an article from the Los Angeles Times Service written by David Shaw and Bill Hazlett. We all are sickened by what we read every day in the papers and see on television. What can we do about it? Well, there isn't much the average family can do to change the national situation, other than lead honest and exemplary lives themselves. But the average family can make certain that its home is as safe as money and good judgment can make it. I'd guess that 90% of American homes are ill-protected against criminal marauders. Any thief or psychopath can enter the average home with ridiculous ease in minutes, and they do every day. And that's because practically all builders put cheap junk where there should be excellent first-class hardware on doors and windows. Now, good hardware is available. You can find it on the really fine, expensive, custom-built homes, but most people don't know about it. Practically all families can afford and would gladly pay for such hardware if someone would bring it to their homes and show it to them, displayed perhaps in an attractive case, along with a sales book showing the rate of increase of crime in the country, with newspaper clippings of robberies, rapes, and murders going on every day. The man of the house could install the hardware himself, or he could pay extra for your installer to do it for him. And not just for the doors, but for every window in the house. You know, there's window hardware that locks with a key, and which prevents a window from being opened more than is needed for ventilation. As soon as the would-be intruder finds it difficult to enter, as soon as he realizes he's up against first-class preventive hardware instead of the dime-store junk he's used to, he'll move on to easier pickings. Such hardware could be sold in any sizable community. In order to get it for my own home, I had to go to a great deal of trouble, do extensive research, make a couple of trips, and make dozens of phone calls. Whatever it is you have a knack for, or like very much to do, there's a way to turn it to substantial profit and financial independence. But it takes something that not one person in 1,000 will seriously tackle. It takes thought, time set aside for serious thought. Judge Learned Hand once wrote, "That we never see, save through a glass darkly, and that at long last we shall succeed only so far as we continue to undertake the intolerable labor of thought, that most distasteful of all our activities. But hard as it is, distasteful as it may be, we need only do it until we've solved our own particular problem. And we solve our own particular problem by being of service to others. They have everything we want, and will gladly share it with us, as we've said before, if we'll help them solve their problems. As we mature in our adult lives, our income should meet our thoughtful requirements. By establishing quality and simplicity as the guidelines of our lives, the income necessary to live a very good, full life can be surprisingly small. It should meet our qualifications, whatever they are, and that's our business. And any person can see to it that he has the income he wants all the years of his life and lives where he would like most to live. The number of business executives and managers who wind up behind the financial 8-ball should be something of a source of amazement to us all. Here are professional problem solvers who find they can't solve one of life's most important problems. They're usually good organizers, good leaders, good thinkers, and decision-makers. At least they're supposed to be. And when they find themselves living marginal lives on incomes representing only the barest fraction of what they're used to, they should be able to come up with the appropriate answers to their problems. If necessary, they can organize an entirely new business firm, providing some sort of needed product or service. With their experience and training, with all that time on their hands, such an endeavor should have every chance of success. However, should it fail, they'll probably be no worse off than before, and they can try again. It will also give them something exciting to fill their time, keep them in the swim of things. You know, Henry Ford was pushing 50 when he got started in the automobile business. A friend of mine started a brand new company when he was 65 and watched it grow during his lifetime to a $300 million a year institution. In fact, following retirement, it's quite possible for a person to do much better than he did during his regular working career.